So tonight again, I can't help myself. I got a steak marinating to go on the fire, but these tomatoes that my friend Marty gave me, sitting here looking at me, and the jalapeno, and I couldn't resist. I had to do something with them. And this was delicious last night. So you take the tomato, you slice it, you throw it in the pan on top of some butter, and you simmer it with fresh rosemary, thyme, and holy basil, and fresh chopped garlic. And you just let that slow simmer. I get it hot, and then I turn the stove top heat off and leave the cover on it. Right? And then just let it simmer. Come back and hit it with some more heat every so often while I'm cooking over the fire, or messing around with the fire, or working on CAD drawings, or whatever I'm doing. And then come back at the end, throw some cheddar cheese on top, and let that melt in. Give it another bump of heat.
Been waiting for that rain for quite a while. Finally getting a good thunderstorm. I don't think it'll be a tremendous amount of rainfall, but I think it'll help us a lot because we needed some good rain moisture. We'll see when I can get back up to the farm. Got a car down right now. I like that. So I think it was Sunday I was last up here at the farm. Been through various troubles this week, mostly car-related troubles. Got that fixed finally, which is awesome. Big shout out to Fully Loaded Automotive Performance, Route 9G, Germantown. You need car work done, they take care of you. So awesome on that. Glad to have that running again. And I totally had forgotten that I even put the buckwheat cover crop in here last year, and you can see some of this still has not germinated yet, and that's because we haven't had a lot of rain. It's been pretty dry and pretty hot. We've had a good amount of cloud cover, so we haven't had quite the amount of evaporation that we would normally have. And we got a little bit of a rain shower last night, but it looks like we didn't get much of it here. Or if we did, it's cooked off. But overall, for plants not having been fed, and now I think this is the
holding off
third week to take the plant sap tests before I did the next foliar feed, because I didn't want to disrupt the plant sap test results by foliar feeding. But a mistake was made, and the package ended up in the wrong place, and that held me off. And then the car broke down, so now I'm finally at least able to get back here and look at plants. I haven't even seen these plants in 5 days. And they look well overall. They're doing well, I think, but they definitely could use a foliar feed. I was going to do that this evening or tomorrow. And it looks like we did get some rain here because I can see where it dripped off the plants and the ground is still moist here from it. So I don't think we're too bad in drought, but I really do hope we get some rain soon because we do need a shot of rain. They do need some water. And there is absolutely no way to irrigate here. And I did not get mulch down this year to help protect our moisture and our soils. And our cover crop is coming up here, and that will come in over time and start protected. But honestly, we have like 40 days left in the season, something like that, 35, 40, before these are supposed to be at maturity. And that doesn't leave us much time. Fortunately, buckwheat is very fast, but as you can see, a lot of it did not germinate just because we have so little rain. And that's a mistake on my part. I should have gotten back here much earlier, much sooner, and realized much sooner that I was not going to be able to get out here and get the mulch down that I wanted to, and put a cover crop instead in. But there's a lot of new variables here this season on this farm. This is a new piece of ground for me, a new scale on that, a bunch of stuff, and I just fell shy of the mark this year. And that's okay, because all of those failures will guide me in building better success next year. And that's the sort of resilience you have to have as a farmer, You're going to take kicks to the shin, bricks to the head, and so on. And the trick is to learn all the lessons that you can from those mistakes and carry those lessons forward to help guide you to make less mistakes in the future. And, maybe that's a metaphor for life too, I don't know. But it's something to think about and something to keep in mind if you're going to get into farming. Because I can tell you, farming will test your skills, it will test your knowledge, and it will test your patience. And it'll probably do it pretty regularly. So, be ready. That's all I'm saying. Now that aside, and even though I haven't been back here to stake these plants up, they are growing at phenomenal rates, and I'm going to include them in my foliar feed. And looking at how these plants are moisture-wise, the potatoes I'm referring to specifically, the tomatoes not so much, they're doing pretty well. These guys had an awful lot of boron and some other things that are very, they're tough for plants to manage if they don't have adequate moisture. And given that we're kind of in a droughty spot here, not quite drought, but we're kind of getting there. And I can tell you, conventional farmers using conventional, chemical fertilizers, without irrigation right now, they would be this crop would be failing on them hard. Potato bugs would be all through this. They'd have a lot of problems. But because of my practices, we can actually hold out through some pretty dry weather. And I've talked about that ad infinitum on my channel, and I will continue to talk about that ad infinitum because it's really important. When you get that soil and biology connection going on, that biology can sequester and bring more moisture than you can possibly imagine. And that's just part of it. Another part is building carbon. Carbon can sequester a tremendous amount. So that said, this is a very happy checkup for me, given that I haven't been able to get up here and do anything. And things are doing really, really well, despite dry weather, despite all the challenges of the season. And I think I'm still going to pull off a decent potato crop. But it does make me wish I had a water truck, because I come up here and hit him with a shot. But I don't, and I definitely am not going to keep putting 500-pound barrels of water in my car, because that's really hard on my car. I need that for all my other work as well. So just walking down and looking, here's one CPB, but just one. And again, I don't know if that's in part because of the foliar feeds and practice that I use that makes these plants more distasteful to those bugs, or if that's because of a low Colorado potato bug pressure, just because this area doesn't grow a lot of potatoes, and this particular piece of ground, as far as I know, has never grown potatoes. So that's that. But we are coming into flower here, and things are looking really good. So that's awesome. And I'll just give you another shot of the tomatoes here as we switch over to, there's another variety here. There are two different types of plum tomatoes, and they're both from the Italian Seed Company. I think it's the Italian Seed Company is what they're called. But they sell their tomato seeds in this big packet, and I'll try to throw a clip in there. I have them actually sitting on my desk because I never got them into my track log this year because I've just been so busy I couldn't even keep my track log up. But we do have tomatoes coming on here as well. Lots of flowers setting, and you can also see where the deer have been chewing on the plants a bit. But it's amazing that in a drought, with no care, basically, aside from those foliar feeds that got us started for the season, and good rains earlier in the season, that they're doing as well as they are. So that's awesome news, and that's an excellent thing to find out, that our soil here, our base soil here, is pretty nice to begin with, and then with the tuning with foliar feeds and the knowledge and skills that we have here, we can amplify this into super soil in no time. I hope you'll stay tuned on this channel and learn about that and watch that process. This is another video that is part of the Reboot Agriculture series. If you're not aware, this is a full series playlist, basically vlogging my whole farm startup here from 2024 on to whenever I close that playlist. And then from that playlist, eventually I'll build Regenerative Ag School videos using excerpts from the playlist. So multiple goals there. And lots more interesting stuff coming as we progress. I have a new job now, working with an engineer, and he's very passionate about farming and gardening as well. And we're both very passionate about land and land preservation and caring for the soil and ecology. So that's going to bring a really cool level of depth to the channel that has not been available to me before. So I'm excited about that as well. And that's my friend Marty that I work with. Well, here we are up at the 7,500 square foot block and cover crop. And there's a nice green haze coming on that field. And some of my favorite birds here. Pretty sure these are mourning doves up there. They're just kind of pecking around, enjoying themselves. So that's nice to see. And the cover crop is filling in nice. There you go. And I mean, not super even. Oops. Zoom around. There we go. Not super even, but for hand seeded, not super uneven. I'm not at all disappointed with the results of that. And of course, through hot, dry weather, they're actually growing pretty well considering. Yeah, very interesting. You can see in here the wet zone run up the channel like I talked about. You can see another wet zone up here. Look at this. Right where they ran that chisel plow rip down through, or whatever kind of cut came down here. You can see there's that wet zone. And then, as I've been talking about all season here, we can really see the effects of both the quality of the soil on this side. Remember when I cut through here with the disc, how nice the soil was. And also the amount of moisture that's being sequestered that's actually working its way down from our channel up there, our valley, like I talked about. And how this side is picking that up. And again, if I come down low here, you can see this little hump right in here. There's like a ridge. And then we get that moisture showing up on both sides of the ridge, and very evident in our cover crop, and how much more advanced and green that is over the rest of our cover crop. Part of that is my uneven sowing rate, but the greenness and the vigor, vitality, and vibrance of the pieces where the moisture is quite evident to me, and I hope it's evident on camera to you. And again, working our way up our green water channel, so to speak, we can see the low spots, even the little tiny low spots, are picking up so much more moisture. And then as we come into this valley, we can see where it goes here. It's a clear dividing line of sort of dry on one side. And looking back that way, we see it. Green, dry, 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 poof, green, green. And part of that, is where this soil wasn't disturbed. But if you recall, I come through here with a disc in the springtime, and I cut this up real good, and then I form beds up out of it. And you can still see the results of that. That soil is pretty dry on top. There's no mulch, there's no growing cover. And our ginger is suffering as a result of that lack of moisture. But you can see where we do have green is where we have growing crops. Green, growing crops, protecting the soil, sequestering moisture, reaching deeper in the soil and grabbing moisture, and actually sharing that moisture with the rest of the soil profile, so to speak. And the holy basil here is just rocking, and a lot of this has really gone to seed. I'm going to let this mature another, well, let's see, I'm probably going to do a foliar feed tonight or tomorrow night, depending on timing. And then I probably will let this mature another few days, and then I think I can pull a seed crop off of that, prune that back pretty good. And then after I prune it back, this will all grow back out and flower out again. Even more robust, even bigger, even crazier, faster, with more pollinators and more. This stuff is truly amazing. It's truly one of the most beneficial plants you could have in a garden or on a farm, regardless of what else you're growing. Holy basil, also known as Tulsi. It's amazing stuff. And if you try it, you'll be amazed, and you'll want to cook with it all the time. And you'll notice the health benefits right away. I'm not going to go into a long depth on those. Do your own research. They're amazing plants. And tomatoes are doing well. Holy basil all through that. You can see the turmeric is doing a little bit better in the understory here than the ginger is down where it's a little bit drier and it's more exposed in that one spot I showed you. And actually there's quite a bit of turmeric coming up through here. And if we could get a good rainstorm, it would probably really take off. And even better if we could get a good rainstorm and I could come in here right away behind that and get some mulch down in these other bare spots. That would make a huge difference. And also, I'm regretting disking this up next to this right now because I know how much that's affecting our total moisture availability. And if I'd left that in green, growing weeds and cover, we'd have a lot better moisture available, even right up to this edge. So that was another mistake I made on my part this season. But lesson learned, I won't forget that. Let me tell you, I won't forget that. So these are beefsteaks, sort of. These are like I think these are the blue ox heart type tomato, but these are from that Italian seed company again. These should be excellent, but they also definitely need water, and they might need a little bit of calcium because that looks like the beginning of some calcium or blossom end rot, which is an indicator of deficiency of calcium. But that deficiency of calcium might be just from lack of water or lack of mobility, and it might be a combination of calcium and potassium. That's just what I see at a glance. The ones that are staked up are definitely doing much better. We definitely have some nice tomatoes coming on these plants already. And again, you know, they haven't had any water, haven't had any care. I think it was a week and a half ago or so that I staked them up, maybe 2. And they're just growing along well. Happy plants. And hey, that feels good. And there's cherry tomatoes here. I think these are Sakura F1 from Johnny Selected Seeds. I don't know if these are any good yet. Getting there. Yeah. They really do need water. The flavor's good, but they're a little bit tough-skinned. That just tells me, having grown so many tomatoes, they want a little bit more water to make a little bit softer, nicer fruit. But great to see that things are doing very well overall. And I have good information now to guide my foliar feed, whether I do it tonight or tomorrow. I've had a good close look at these plants and where they're at, and I can blend a foliar feed that can target potatoes, tomatoes, ginger, turmeric, ginger, turmeric, holy basil, and the like, all in one feed. I'm just going to do a general feed and make sure they have the basics that they need. And I'm probably going to use some C-stim, some photomag, and I'll probably use some accelerate, just a touch, because I want to turn these plants on completely with full support, complete trace mineral and hormonal nutritional support for flowering and fruiting, because we're obviously going into full flowering and fruiting, and it's time to make sure they have everything they need for that. And then I'm just going to hope and pray that we get some rains to help support all of that. So that's what it'll be. I probably will go a little light on those foliar feeds, not knowing if we're going to get rain, because I don't want to turn them on too much and then they don't have enough moisture and we end up hurting them instead of helping them. I'm just over here looking at these tomatoes on the end here, and I just was taking a peek underneath to look at them. I just wanted to share it with you here on camera. Like, it's pretty impressive how large these tomatoes have gotten. And actually what caught my attention was there was a dead piece of one hanging out here. I don't know what happened, but it must get yanked off by something. But if we go down close here and you see, and again, these have not been given the best care. Tortured, basically, by my perspective. But still, we're looking at the width of my thumb. Probably 3/4 of an inch. That's not bad for tomatoes that went in late and have had basically drought conditions, haven't been staked, haven't been mulched, haven't been irrigated, and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a good indicator of how well regenerative ag systems work and how well just a little bit of using the right trace minerals, enzymes, biology, and practices can truly enhance the growth, health, vigor, vitality, and resilience of plants, animals, and humans. already out there eyeing it. See, we're already scaring them out of there. It's not even sunset yet. I was there half an hour ago. I'm so hungry for venison. You see that little bit of leaf curl there? That's hurting from that lack of moisture. Hot and hazy today, for sure. For sure. Definitely getting to be that late summer sun. You know the deal. Keep your friends close and your farmers closer. Cheers.